Hey guys, welcome back to the Coach Spotlight powered by Rock Daisy. Super excited to have Ethan Crawford with us from Madison Academy down in Alabama. He's the head strength coach there, offensive line coach. He's taking over for a guy that we all know, Cody, that hosted this podcast for a while, and I think the world of him as well. So, man, really excited to have you on the Coach Spotlight this week.
I'm happy to be here.
Ethan, when you're at a school like Madison, and even though Madison has a lot of resources, maybe compared to other high schools, but in terms of comparing versus maybe some Division I universities and things like that, where your resources are tight. What's the standard you refuse to compromise inside your program?
I would say the biggest thing is just having actionable data that I can look at, understand. It can be simple for our coaches to understand, of knowing where the direction of the program is going, that the barbell is not the only metric that I want to track, that there's so much other stuff that I want to track, but wanting to track that needs to be done the right way in order to be actionable. So I need to be able to have all that data and have it viewable, easy to understand, and actionable. That's something that it just has to be there. It has to be super simple for everyone that has stakes in the program to understand that they want something. They need to see that this is improving. I need them to be able to understand all this data.
Before getting to Madison, where I know that you guys had Rock Daisy kind of already in place, before you kind of had everything centralized in one system, how are you training? How are you tracking your training and communicating your performance data?
Early on, kind of when I was fresh getting into what it truly meant to be a strength coach, not just a guy in the weight room, was through Google Sheets, Excel, lots of tabs, lots of functions, lots of formulas, lots of data crunching, spending too much time on the laptop trying to just get data in and get it organized. At some point, we got TeamBuilder at my previous stop, and it was early on when they were trying to do data stuff. It wasn't super, super clean to where I could make it actionable, that I understood it, but it was a little bit of a crash course for me to understand it. And if it took me a little bit to understand it, it's going to take the coaches a lot longer to understand it. If they have to do research on how to understand this data, it's not actionable data, that they don't want to have to take a course to understand what I'm trying to get done, that it needs to be super simple. The previous things just weren't super simple.
So besides it just not being not simple and be easily communicated, what were some of the other friction points that you had, with Google Sheets and some of these other platforms? And what kind of was immediately solved with a product like Rock Daisy?
A lot of it was, there was so much reliance on the kids that you ask 13 to 18-year-old kids to constantly put in data for you so that you can have it all in one spot, you can get it into one spot. And that's just a disaster, to the point that either they're not putting data in, they accidentally put in the wrong data, that it just made it really hard to get clear and concise data points all the time to, again, be actionable, be good data that shapes the framework of a program. With Rock Daisy, the biggest plus side of Rock Daisy is its ability to API sync with so many different vendors that we have, that the two main vendors that we have at Madison Academy being Dasher and Vitruve, I don't have to worry about trying to jot down what speed they did a certain lift at, how fast a certain sprint was. It syncs in to that kid, specifically to him, whatever we were doing that day, and I can look back as far as I need to look back. As long as I sync it and get it into the system, I can have as much data points in there without me having to do it, that it's one click and then Rock Daisy does it.
Yeah, it's one of those things that people don't talk about enough, really, when it comes to, sports science and tracking data, is that data hygiene. Your reports, your fancy graphs, all those types of things, it's only as good as the data that you put into it, and inevitably when you're dealing with athletes, it's going to be hit and miss sometimes. So being able to take that out through the API sync, that's huge. I agree with that 100%. You mentioned the athletes, what changed in them once they were able to visualize and see the data in a different way, and it was at their fingertips?
It just made everything a lot more competitive. They had a lot more stake into their training, that they didn't have to wait for a max day to see a tangible proof of the program working, that you kind of saw trends over time. That one of the things that I do on a weekly basis, because I can track it and I can print it, I can make it super easy, is I put up a weekly leaderboard that the kids get to see on a weekly basis what their sprints were, what their jumps were. That even with some of our lifting stuff, I put it up on our TVs of, this is this team's leaderboard. These are the top 15, 20 guys. This is what they run. This is what they jump. This is what they lift. This is how strong they are compared to their body weights. And they see that. And as soon as it occurs or whatever test that we do happens and it sinks in, it updates daily, weekly, monthly. And they're seeing themselves slowly climb up the leaderboard, that it just adds a vested interest into the program outside of just doing what coach tells you to do. That you see the tangible progress, you see yourself climbing the leaderboard. You have a lot more stake in that program than just being told to do it.
If I walked in, he took over Madison Academy maybe a year and a half ago or so. If I walked in a year and a half ago and I walked in now, what would be the biggest thing that's changed about the program?
You would see that even though we do a lot of stuff with the AMS, a lot of data stuff, that these kids understand how to use it without it being me babysitting or hand holding them through it, that they know how to walk in and immediately weigh in on the iPads with Rock Daisy. That's one of the things that we do every workout is we weigh them in. We want to track that. They know how to do that, that they've been trained and shown how to do that, that it's not a crazy complicated thing for them to do. They've been shown once or twice. They get it done. They have their sheets that I use the workout builder, but I have the sheets printed for some. Some guys like to use the workout builder on the iPad, but it's not a very complex thing for the athletes to use, that they can do it on their own without having a bunch of hand holding and babysitting. They know how to use it, and we get a lot of good stuff out of it.
If I shadowed you for a week, what are some of the dashboards that you would pull up the most?
The biggest one that I know I check on a daily basis, depending on what we've done, would be the multi-assessment dashboard. It allows me to see what metric we're tracking and see what it was compared to the previous time we tracked it. That if we did a 5-10 on one week, the next week we did it again, that data goes in. It shows me the plus or the minus percentage of, did we improve? That the biggest thing for that is I get to see, are our kids improving and are they gassed? It's kind of more of a readiness thing for me, just getting to see multiple weeks in a row we've been below our previous, that we're on a fast track to get hurt.
So you mentioned the multi-assessment. How do you go about using this specific dashboard?
Yeah, with the multi-assessment, it just allows me to kind of see with a weekly basis what this looks like for our guys, that I can track every time we do a certain test. It shows me a plus or a minus percentage for that test based on the last time we did it. It's not this big, super long dashboard. It is a week to week, multiple assessments, multiple things that we track, and I get to see what it looks like. And if there's just constant red off of the previous week's work, it allows me to kind of get involved in that program, figure out what's wrong with that athlete at that point in time, and decide that a change needs to get made. That it's not just we keep hammering, hope that it gets better. Multiple weeks of red means injury is likely to occur and we need to pivot somewhere in the program.
Yeah, having that kind of weekly diagnostic that you're able to pull up and identify and flag athletes, so you can have some of those conversations, I think is super important. When you're comparing back to their baseline, is there a dashboard that you use to kind of really, drive in the growth that they've had over the time that you've had them?
Yeah. So what I like to use a lot is the baseline comparison dashboard. That this dashboard allows me to see from the beginning. I could set the date range of however long I want it to be, but it allows me to see from a certain point in time that I can set the date range. I can decide what I really want to focus on and then track it from then on. That if I want to go through January of 2026 of this fiscal calendar year, I get to track that and I get to focus in on just these guys, this team for whatever cycle of training. So this is all the stuff through our first phase of training that we're kind of tracking some of our big rocks that I get to see from the very first time that we tested this stuff. I get to see a growth, or not a growth, that it allows me to determine the effectiveness of the program in that first phase and pivot as I need to, that this is something that I would print off and I would show to our sport coaches as this is what our program looks like right now. This is the direction that we need to go. This is the direction that we're currently heading. And it's super simple. It's a green up arrow for improvement. It's a red down arrow for a decrease and a gray just line for there was no difference. Super simple for the coaches to just see, understand. I don't have to try and get them to teach them this dashboard. They look at it, they see green, they understand that's good. They see a lot of green, that means we're on the right track. If there's a lot of red, we need to pivot. So it's just making it super easy and actionable for our coaches to understand exactly what we're doing and why we're doing it.
One of the newest features within Rock Daisy is the workout builder, and I know you guys have used that quite a bit, and kind of help pioneer it a little in some ways. What has the workout builder brought to you, and kind of how have you gone about using that?
Yeah, the workout builder has given us a lot of just wiggle room into our program. It makes it super, super nice to where I could have all of my data in one spot and every bit of training programs also in one spot. I don't have to try and use two different apps, two different systems of trying to get data in and out. It's all in the same spot all the time. It makes it very nice, very quick and easy to work with. And I'm coming from TeamBuilder. I've used TeamBuilder before, and I wouldn't be able to tell you that there's some significant drop off from the workout builder from TeamBuilder. That when you take the workout builder and the AMS and you combine them together, there's nothing better. That the workout builder allows me to program as many workouts as I want, as many sets, as many reps, as many blocks of training as I want. It allows me to track every single bit of their training, that I could set a certain exercise to track their top set. It can auto update their estimated 1 rep max. I could track accessory work. I can track main work. The kids can go back and see what they've done previously. So it's not a question of, coach, what did I do last week? You could go track that. You understand what you've done last week. It makes the athlete be a lot more in charge of their training and shows some level of commitment of, you know exactly what you did or you didn't do. Did you put your numbers in? Did you track your work? That I could either print it off on a sheet and put it on a rack, which some kids like just writing down their stuff. I could still get involved in the program and the fact that I'm the one that adjusts them week to week. Some kids like working on the iPads because they think it's really cool that their workout is on an iPad. That it just provides a lot more variety in our training. It's a cool little gadget for the kids to get to see on an iPad and do their work through there. And it works well with having the workout builder on an iPad plus our VBT also on the same iPad.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. What you just mentioned right there is the ability to, tap into that data going to these dashboards in real time. And, if somebody PRs, they're able to kind of quickly pull up and see, their history, their, going back to that baseline dashboard, or you're able to go up and pull up what happened the previous week with that weekly dashboard that you put up. And, so I think having that all and being able to open up one app on your computer just streamlines the process so much. So yeah, I agree with you there. For yourself and others, I mean, if somebody was if another high school coach or another strength coach or an offensive line coach came to you and was watching this and thinking, I don't know if I'm ready for this, or that looks very complicated to me, what would you tell them?
I would say that it's not that I'm not the biggest sports scientist. I try not to get so enamored with the data. I realize the importance of the data. It shows you direction of your program, but it's something you can use a litany of different dashboards to fit your need. That the baseline and the multi-assessment are really good for me. Those are ones that I check a lot. Other coaches may not check those specific dashboards as much, that they might have other dashboards that they love to use, that's better for their system, better for their program. It's something as soon as you get into it, most of these dashboards have a little kind of like an FYI attached to them, kind of giving you a rundown of what this dashboard is. And as soon as you get into the dashboard, it's super user friendly, and that everything is kind of in front of you. The tabs are easy to pick up on, that going from different teams, going from different specific athletes. It's super simple. It's very much in front of you. It's not trying to find the tiny little button in the top right corner. It's in front of you, super easy to use, that the more you kind of get into it, the more you want to understand and the more dashboards you want to get into your system, because it's very fluid. It's not hard to kind of get the grasp of within a couple minutes.
Oh, that's great advice, man. Well, man, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing what you guys are doing down there in Madison. Where can people stay up with you or things that you guys got going on there?
So, I mean, we try to post a lot of our stuff on our social medias that we have. Every sports team we have has a different social media page that kind of little bits of training gets posted through there. Some of our kids like to post own little bits of their training. I'm not the greatest with the camera. I'm usually on the floor trying to actively coach, but that's something that I'm trying to change just to get our kids out there for people to see what we do. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter. Those are the main spots that we try to get anything related to our programs out to people.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks so much, man. Really appreciate you.
Of course. Thank you for having me.